Alfie shoved Bastian aside and started to walk.
No way. You can stay trapped here if you like, but I'm going to find my mom. And then we're out of here.
Alfie, wait. I'm coming with you.
Riley called after him. They pushed through the jungle with Bastian and Miss Pigglesworth trailing behind. When they reached the beach, they headed down to the water's edge and walked in the same direction they did when they first awoke. Behind them, Miss Pigglesworth barked, and Bastian shook his head in frustration.
Please stop. We're about to cross the boundary into Red Cloak territory, and we mustn't go in there. Especially today. She's coming back with me to the community.
Alfie charged up to Bastian and poked him in the chest.
The only place I'm going is home, after I find my mom.
Riley watched her cousin go and then turned back to Bastian.
I'm sorry, but he's right. We can't stay.
She started to run after Alfie.
Hey, Alfie, wait up.
When she caught up to her cousin, Alfie turned on her.
They're so stupid. Like we don't know the truth.
What are you talking about?
Alfie pointed to Bastian.
Him and all of them, they've done this to us.
Riley looked back at Bastian and saw the confusion on his face.
Alfie, you don't really think they caused our boat to sink, do you? It was the sea serpent.
No, they're part of it.
That doesn't make sense. You make it sound like they made the storm.
Prove that they didn't.
Riley put her hands on her hips.
No, you proved that they did.
Alfie shook his head.
You're so stupid.
He turned and stormed down the beach. Riley stood, watching him go. This was the cousin she hated. He was mean and spiteful. Even now when they were in trouble, he was still being nasty.
Your cousin is a very angry person.
Bastian said, coming up to her. Riley nodded.
Now, do you see why I call him Creep? My dad says he has anger management problems. He's always been so mean, even when we were young. His family would visit us at Christmas and it would be a nightmare. He'd break my toys and bother my brother. Maybe because he doesn't have any brothers or sisters of his own. I don't know. His dad was always angry too, but when his dad left and his parents divorced, Alfie became even worse. My mom and dad hoped this trip would help him, but it hasn't. And now that he's scared...
You think he's scared?
Of course he's scared. So am I.
Riley, there is nothing to fear. If you follow the rules, Atlantis can be a wonderful place to live. But really, we must just go back. It's dangerous to be here on a beach.
Bastian, I already have a home. I just want to find my family and go back there.
She ran after Alfie. He might be the most annoying person in the world, but they were family and had to stick together. Falling in line with her cousin, they continued walking. Riley would occasionally look back to see Bastian and Miss Pigglesworth trailing farther behind. Bastian was talking to the dog, and she was barking back at him. Their behavior alone was enough to make Riley really weirded out. After a while, they reached a curve in the island, where the beach veered sharply to the left. Rounding the bend, they stopped. Riley stared in disbelief.
Do you see what I see?
Uh-huh.
A small group of people were emerging from the trees. They were all wearing red cloaks with the hoods drawn up and walking in 2 straight lines, while carrying something on their shoulders. That something, or someone, was also in a red cloak, and appeared to be struggling to get down. Directly behind them was a line of 4 magnificent black horses. Each horse had a golden horn on its head that sparkled in the sunlight. Riley gasped.
They put horns on those horses to make them look like unicorns.
She continued to walk forward towards the beautiful horses.
Riley, Alfie, stop!
He caught up to them and hauled them over a large piece of driftwood and pushed them down to their knees.
Get down! I told you, this is Red Cloak territory. It is forbidden for us to be here and witness this.
Witness what?
Yeah. That you guys have glued horns on those poor horses? I sure hope they come off easily, or I swear I'll report you for animal cruelty.
We haven't glued the horns on. They're real. The unicorns are the guardians of this island. They are ensuring that the Red Cloaks carry the one on their shoulders to the water. It is time for her release into the ocean.
Riley was about to ask what that meant when they heard a ferocious roar. Then another red cloak appeared out of the jungle. His cloak was filthy and torn as he ran towards the unicorns.
Wait! No, you can't do this! I love her! She belongs with me! It's not her time! Please, stop this!
The last unicorn in the line turned on the red-cloaked figure and whinnied loudly.
Please.
The voice from under the hood howled.
She's my life.
He collapsed to the sand, and his shoulders rose and fell with tearful grief. Then he threw back his head and roared mournfully.
Susan, no.
What's happening?
Riley asked.
We shouldn't be here. If Mada sees us, he'll be furious.
So what? What is this freak show?
Bastian's voice was becoming frantic.
Please, we have to go before Mada...
The person in the red cloak was still on the ground, sobbing, but then he glanced their way and released another ferocious roar. He leapt forward and down to all fours as he charged at them.
Run!
Riley was too stunned to move. She stayed kneeling in the sand, watching the red cloak coming right at her. Behind them, Miss Pigglesworth growled, barked, and then leapt over Riley and Alfie and ran straight at the red cloak.
No, Miss Pigglesworth, stop!
The sights and sounds were sickening as the immense dog and red cloak met in a vicious fight. They started rolling in the sand. Riley saw flashes of orange, white, and black, and as she watched, she could have sworn she saw a long striped tail from beneath the cloak. As the fight intensified, Mada rolled over and rose above Miss Pigglesworth. His red-cloaked arm moved incredibly fast as he swiped the dog and knocked her several feet away. Miss Pigglesworth yelped and howled as she hit the sand and tried to get up.
Miss Pigglesworth!
Mada's cloaked head shot back to Riley and Alfie. With the dog out of the way, he growled and roared in a rage. He charged again and then jumped in the air, shooting straight at them. All Riley could do was watch as Mada crossed a great distance in the single leap. Right before he landed, two of the unicorns galloped forward. Their golden horns glowed brightly as one of the unicorns lowered its head and grazed the length of the red cloak with the tip of its horn. Mada roared once, and then collapsed to the sand unconscious. Riley could hardly believe what she had seen. But it wasn't over yet. The other unicorn galloped over to Alfie and her, and reared up as it let out a shrill scream. Once again, its golden horn started to glow.
We're sorry, please forgive us.
Bastian threw himself down in the sand in front of the rearing unicorn and held up his hands in surrender.
Please. Riley and Alfie just arrived here. They don't know the rules yet. Please don't punish us.
The unicorn went back down to the sand, but snorted furiously. It took a step closer with its horns still glowing. The other unicorns also trotted forward with glowing horns. Bastian rose and ran back to Riley and Alfie, catching them by the arms. He forced them to run.
We have to get out of here.
Riley didn't resist as Bastian pulled her and Alfie away from the furious unicorns and farther down the beach. Moments later, Miss Pigglesworth appeared alongside them. She was limping badly, and blood from deep scratches was matting her fur. They kept moving until they were back where they started. Just before they reached the community, Alfie stopped and turned on Bastian.
Okay, now you're gonna tell us what just happened back there. Who were those guys in the red cloaks? What were they carrying? And what was Mada? Don't try to tell me he was a man, because I know he wasn't. He had a tail.
I can't.
Alfie caught Bastian by the arm and poked his finger in his chest.
You're gonna tell us, or else.
As he leaned in close to Bastian, Miss Pigglesworth started to growl.
Alfie, stop. Look at the dog.
Alfie looked at Miss Pigglesworth. Her hackles were raised and her teeth were bared as she took a step closer.
Call off your dog.
I can't. You saw her. Miss Pigglesworth is very protective of me. If she attacked Mada, I promise she'll attack you too.
Alfie looked at the dog and backed away from Bastian. He raised his hands.
Okay. I'm not gonna touch him.
Miss Pigglesworth stopped growling. Then she whined again and she gazed back at her injured side.
Please, I have to help her. Just come back to the community. Beresford can tell you everything.
Fine. But he'd better, or there's gonna be big trouble.